There is something happening with XRP and XLM right now that I believe could be setting them up for massive moves. And in today's video, I'm going to explain to you exactly what's happening and what you need to be watching extremely closely. Now, as many of you know, the crypto market has been absolutely sending it over the last week, with something like Bitcoin up to around $118,000, ETH back around $3,000, XRP inching closer and closer to $3, and many of your other altcoins pushing up anywhere from 20 to 30% in the last 7 days. Now, throughout this, many of you have noticed that both XRP and XLM are performing outstanding. I mean, it's just been outstanding, honestly, what we've been seeing from them. Just look at the 24-hour crypto bubbles chart right now. Which one are the two that you really notice right now? You notice XRP, you notice XLM specifically. It's been absolutely fantastic. Again, XRP is currently up 25% in the last 7 days. Stellar XLM is currently up 63% just in the last 7 days. And many people are starting to believe the hype again. Now, I personally do believe the reason as to why we are seeing these two stand out from the crowd is just because of a more institutional perspective. You got to think about it, right? Institutions are now more willing to go a little bit more risk on because we are seeing a possible environment approaching in which we are going to see interest rates being cut and money being easier to access. And so, of course, naturally, they're going to go to the things that they know. They're going to go to the companies and the cryptos and the investments that they're comfortable with. They made a lot of money off XRP, off XLM, off ADA, off many of these US based cryptos back in November and December. So they're going to just go right back onto them now. That's going to cause a major pop in the price. And then, of course, retail investors are going to see that pop. They're going to jump in. They're going to FOMO in, pushing the prices upwards. It's the same little repeating cycle over and over and over again. And we are starting to see that cycle happen right now. We're starting to recognize and notice that that seems to be starting because what I'm going to be showing you today from more of a technical perspective implies that XRP and XLM are finally taking the first steps for real growth. Not these little 10, 15% gain growth. I'm talking 50 to 100% gains in growth. And I'm going to show you exactly why today. Now, don't forget, if you do want to trade a little XRP, a little XLM, and many more cryptos, you can check out that link to BTCC down below. Guys, if you sign up specifically with my link, they're going to give you up to $10,000 in bonuses and up to 40% lower trading fees. This is one of the best exchange deals on YouTube. So check out the link down below and let me know what you think. So today, as I mentioned before, we are now going to dive a little bit more into specifically what we are seeing from XRP and XLM that implies to me that they could be preparing for the big moves. Again, not little small 10, 15% moves, but big, big, big moves. And it all comes down to what are called the Fibonacci golden zones and descending channels. Now, I know that may sound complicated, but just trust me, if you give me a couple minutes, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. So first step, okay? So what we've been seeing from both XRP and XLM, and what you'll notice, right? XRP and XLM is they created structures which are called descending parallel channels. And a descending parallel channel is just whenever a crypto's price goes up in this instance, and then it does something like this, okay? And what you can do is you can go in and you can take your descending parallel channel chart or pattern here, and then you can just draw it across, and you can say, okay, we're in a descending parallel channel. Well, as many of you know, and if you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I'm a firm believer that these are some of the most bullish structures that there are. Because what it allows the price to do is it allows it to naturally reset after this huge pump to the upside, but it doesn't just absolutely nuke down to the downside. In addition to that, if this pullback is steep enough or deep enough that it does allow for your indicators, your RSI, all those things to pull back, right? And so what I've told you is that while we've been seeing XRP and XLM both in these channels and structures, that we had, of course, been doing some accumulating and some buying because we were under the belief that one day XRP and XLM would try to make this move to the upside out of the descending channel. Now, whenever a crypto breaks out finally of this descending channel, there's one major thing that needs to happen in order for us to confirm that this breakout is very likely going to be confirmed. It's very likely actually happening, and that we can really start running. I'm not talking about this move, this little bitty move that it'll usually make when we break out. I'm talking about the big move, the one everybody wants, the price discovery, the all-time highs. There's one thing that normally needs to happen to really increase our likelihood that that big move happens. And what that is that this crypto in this situation needs to break what's called the Fibonacci golden zone. Now, I'm not going to get super technical and explain exactly how it works in this video because I've done it multiple videos. But all you need to know is that there's a tool called the Fib retracement tool on TradingView. And in this example, what you would do is you would draw your Fibonacci high. You would just click at the all-time high or the regional high that you set, and you would go and bring it down all the way to the lowest point that you went to within that channel. And if you set your settings to look exactly like this, okay, let me show you, exactly like this, what you're going to be able to see is this golden box. This golden box is the most important level of resistance on this crypto's chart from that moment going forward. Because if at any given given point, this crypto can break to the upside and clear this golden box, history shows that you have an over 70 to 80% chance of then running all the way up towards some of your higher Fibonacci extension levels, which of course are these higher up levels right here. And so it's a two-step equation. The first thing you need to do is you need to break out of the descending channel. The second thing you need to do is you need to break through this golden zone, the golden box, the golden Fibonacci ratio, which ranges between the 0.618 and 0.786 Fibonacci golden zone. Okay. And so the reason I gave you this example and the reason I showed you this is because both XRP and XLM are now within or slightly above this golden zone. And this is so important because this could be the moment where they are opening the door for absolutely massive growth. Now, listen, I'm vastly aware that if there's some terrible news that comes from Iran tomorrow, that the crypto market and the altcoin market is probably going to tank. So I'm not saying that you can just base all of your investment decisions off of technical analysis. You must factor in the fact that there are macro and geopolitical things that are happening that are impacting crypto. But we can't predict what the news will say. We can see what the prices have shown us throughout history and use that to predict the next moves. And that's exactly what we're doing today. And so what I want to do is I want to show you now what exactly is happening with XRP and XLM now that you understand that system. Okay. So whenever we look at XRP, first and foremost, you can see the exact thing that I'm talking to you about. XRP had created this descending channel and it had been stuck within it since December of 2024. But what happened? XRP's price bounced off the low, used it, came up to the red zone, came back to the 50% threshold one more time, and then absolutely rocketed out of this thing straight up to its Fibonacci golden zone. And matter of fact, if you look very closely, XRP got above that Fibonacci golden zone for a few minutes earlier before getting rejected. Now, this rejection is normal. This rejection isn't something that I would be super worried about because it's a massive point of resistance. Listen, the bulls just went through a lot to try to get back above this descending channel. It's going to take a lot to get above this golden zone. So there is a case in which XRP does maybe pull back or cool down a little bit and get stuck within this golden zone for a bit before trying to make that move so the bulls can relax and rest and regather some of their buying opportunity or buying potential, right? That's normal. But at the end of the day, what you can see is that XRP has now made the move out of the descending channel into the golden zone and seemingly getting prepared to open up a move which could have XRP's price pushing up to $4.13, $5.34, or in the best case scenario, $11.18. Now, listen, again, I'm not saying that XRP is about to just immediately send it up to $11, but no, I am saying that we could be seeing XRP right now open the door for a move up towards those levels in the future, and that is a fantastic sign. Now, when we translate that over to XLM, you can see a very similar picture being played out, just in a bit of a different way. XLM's price was stuck within this descending channel, but what happened is price broke out of this descending channel right here and it went straight up. Where did it go straight up to? The same level that I was telling you guys about for months, the golden Fibonacci level. XLM pushed right up towards 40 cents and is now starting to run into some resistance at that 40-cent level now that it's running into the golden zone. And what does this mean? Well, it means that XLM is now entering the process or beginning the process of opening up the door for a price move all the way up to 85 cents. $1.26, or in a perfect world, $3.92. And for a 40-cent crypto, that's not a bad thing. Now, listen, the truth here, XLM is very overextended. It's very high. It went very vertical. And I'm not quite sure that it's going to continue this move for long. It wouldn't shock me whatsoever if XLM's price does start to pull back or cool down sometime soon, now that it has used so much of its buying fuel to get up to the golden zone. It'd be quite difficult to just break the golden zone in this move it's in right now. I actually do think it's more likely that it slows down or cools down. But hey, we're in a bit of a euphoric period for XLM, so maybe it'll pull it off. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it cools down a little bit. It doesn't matter if it goes sideways. It doesn't matter if it pulls back a little bit. It doesn't matter because it's already starting the process. And I believe XLM is giving us a massive chance, a massive opportunity here to try to break this golden zone and give us these pushes upwards. And so with that in mind, what you need to be doing right now, based off of the fact that XLM and XRP are both making this move, is watching the golden zone closer than you've watched anything before. Because if they can break through the golden zone, which for XLM ends at 49.5 cents, and for XRP currently ends right around $2.89. If they can break those levels of resistance, guys, we may see them start to really lead this market. And who knows, maybe it could be the very thing that starts kicking off some of your other alts like ADA and Solana, and maybe even SWE to start generating gains as well. And so you need to be watching this extremely closely because it is extremely important. And I do want to issue a warning. Remember, right now in the crypto market, we're seeing extreme greed. People are very euphoric. They're very happy, and that's very dangerous. And so, although XRP and XLM could be setting up some beautiful moves here, I don't think it's the best idea to just go all in, just throw all your money at them. If you are going to be buying in slowly. If you're opening up leverage long trades, I would probably be having tight stop losses. And if you're already in a lot of profit, it's still okay to be taking some profit off the table right now just to play it safe. Okay. So I'm not trying to be perma bullish. I'm not trying to do any of that, but I am trying to just be honest in the fact that there could be setups right now that could be leading to some beautiful gains. So I'll keep you updated as this all does play out. Of course, guys, I will let you know I do have an Instagram linked down below. You can shoot me a DM if you have any questions or if you have any thoughts or anything you'd like to share, as well as the fact that I do post some extra analysis over there. So feel free to go check it out. And of course, I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day. See you, everybody.